Have you ever had someone say to you, I'll take care of this. Don't worry about this? Whether that was in high school, you were working on a group science project, everyone had their part. But when it came time, somebody didn't follow through. Everyone felt the consequences of that. And heaven forbid, as a person in business or a person in a family, if someone is supposed to take care of a particular element and they don't. Like, you're going to have a party and the person who committed to bringing the paper plates and the cups doesn't bring them. Whoa, okay, that's not very cool. Today we're going to talk about the intention to follow through. It's really a big deal. And so I hope that you will join me on Paint a Beautiful Picture to learn more about following through. Do you know, number one, in order to follow through, there has to be a plan. You need to develop that plan. You need to develop that plan about your child's life. You need to develop that plan about your home life. You need to develop a plan for your own self. What is your life like? What is your life going to look like? It doesn't mean it can't be really a flexible plan. Things can change, things can get modified, things can get crossed off. But I still want to encourage you, you need to have a plan. It's really a big thing, and you can go back and listen to me talking about things like establishing effective guidelines for your home. There are various elements that if you haven't been following me all along, you can go back and hear more about that might help you to develop a plan. But I really want you to have a plan, okay? Again, I'm going to repeat it because it's worth repeating. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Just some things take planning, okay? Unless you're going to run to McDonald's every night and grab your kids' Happy Meals, you're going to have to plan for meals because you've got to go to the grocery store. You have to buy meat. You have to buy spaghetti noodles. You have to buy Hunt's tomato sauce. Maybe all you have to buy is a can of Franco-American SpaghettiOs. I don't care. But you actually do have to plan. Seriously, it takes that. And when it comes to life, when it comes to your kids and how they're going to be, you have to plan. So you have to make up your mind. I intend to develop a plan. This is logical. Okay. Then you have to say, I intend to follow through. Let me describe this to you. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. In fact, I promise you, I don't want you to be discouraged. This is not going to happen in a couple of months. Truthfully, it might not happen for a couple of years or more. I want you to know that. I want you to be realistic. So when you develop this plan, it's not within 6 months my kids are going to do this and no, they're not. They're not. Don't even kid yourself. So in 6 months, my kids are going to learn to listen to me when I ask them to go pick up their room. They're going to stand up and start walking in that direction. Okay. Within 6 months, I myself am going to start making food for my family 3 nights a week, no matter what. Whether that means in the morning, I'm going to put it in the crock pot, or when I get home in the afternoon, I'm going to already have some things pre-done in the freezer and pull them out and make a meal. Or we're going to have a big salad, whatever that means. I'm going to do some things, that's a realistic thing, and then I intend to follow through on this plan. But it doesn't mean I'm going to do it perfectly because I am a human being and human beings fail and human beings make mistakes and human beings don't always carry through. Okay, so I'm going to be a human being. I'm going to cut myself some slack. However, my intention is to learn consistency. How does this happen? This is hard work. I just want you to know this because it's for real. Okay? When I was young, I was consistently impatient. I was consistently angry. I was certainly consistently frustrated. I mean, when I was like 15, 16, 17. And I didn't learn how to be consistently patient or consistently calm in the face of trouble instead of being frustrated about it or any of those things, probably until well into my 30s. Okay? That means 14, 15 years it took me. I just want to say that to you because realistically, you are not going to develop consistency just like that. So let's talk about what I call bleed over. Every single thing in life bleeds over into other things. I'll describe this for you. If you just go to bed whenever you feel like it, so some nights you go to bed at 8 o'clock, some nights you go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, that means some days on the next day you're in really good shape. And you get up and you exercise and you go to work and you have a really great attitude and you're really great with the kids. And then the day you went to bed late, you wake up first thing in the morning cranky and out of sorts and you can't get the kids going correctly and you go to work and you're a jerk and your boss is a jerk and you have no patience with any of this stuff. Yeah. See what I mean about bleed over? And we make those decisions. And so when you start to develop consistency, let's pardon me, let's choose one area. You get to choose, okay? So whether that's your diet or your sleep patterns or some of your parenting patterns, the way that you behave and interact at work, the way that you treat your parents or your siblings or your good friends, the way that you plan or don't plan, the way that you prepare meals or don't prepare them, the way that you take care of your house in terms of housekeeping, the way that you take care of yourself in terms of going to the gym. Yeah, choose an area, pick one, and go to work on it and develop consistency in that. I'm going to tell you though, oftentimes when you start in one area, it begins to have a domino effect and it goes through a whole lot of areas. So we'll start first with I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to stop eating Twinkies and cookies and cake and ice cream, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. And heaven forbid, certainly I'm not going to have that stuff every day. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not even going to buy that stuff and bring it in the house because if it's there, heaven only knows that I'm going to eat it. I'm not going to do that to myself. So I'm going to just quit this one single thing. Well, okay, so I've got to have something else to do. I mean, I'm usually sitting there shoving this stuff in my mouth. Now all of a sudden something else has to happen. So in those 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to start reading or I'm going to read with the kids. And instead, I'm going to have smart pop, popcorn that's not got all those calories in it. Or I'm going to eat an apple. Or I'm going to have carrots and celery with peanut butter, whatever that is. There's going to be a change. And often you have to take one thing and replace it with another one. So I'm going to start developing consistency in how I'm eating and what I'm eating and when I'm eating it so that I feel better, I'm better nourished, and so are my kids, truthfully. What do you know? Well, you know what? Once you start doing that and you feel better, you're liable to be ready to exercise because you have more energy. Or take the kids to the park because they have more energy and you have more energy. It's going to have bleed over. I'm going to talk about a really significant one. This one is huge. I'm going to start to develop a consistent pattern in my life. So I'm going to bed at 10:30 every night. Now, granted, if you live in the Eastern time zone and you're used to watching the news at 11, this is a real challenge, and I want to acknowledge that to you. But you have to decide what's more important to you, getting a good night's sleep or watching everything they're going to tell you on the news. Because heaven knows if the major thing you're watching the news for is to find out the weather, you can find that out by looking on your phone. You don't have to stay up for that. Just saying. Okay, so I'm going to go to bed at 10:30. That means I'm going to be asleep by 11 o'clock. I'm going to get up at 7. I'm going to have a good 8 hours of sleep. I'm going to feel great every single night of my life, right? And I'm going to get the kids up and I'm going to be in a great state of mind and I'll have something for them to eat. And wow, my morning is going to go really well. Talk about bleed over. I'll get the kids off to school. I'll throw a load of clothes in the washer. I'll take care of things, do the dishes. And oh my gracious sakes, I have this huge day ahead of me, and I feel great. Huh, that's a massive amount of bleed over. As opposed to, I'm exhausted, I'm dragging myself around, and I'm cranky, and oh my gracious, I didn't get enough sleep last night, and what in the world was I thinking? And you're beating yourself up and you feel badly. Yeah. So you're not doing any of that massive bleed over. Like, oh gracious sakes, I feel better about myself. I have more self respect. Just a ton of things, only because I consistently chose to get to bed at a regular time and get up at a regular time. And it's radical. I promise you this. Okay. All right. Let's talk about bleed over in terms of this kind of a schedule thing. Every Monday, I do the laundry. Every Tuesday, I go to the grocery store. Every Wednesday, I vacuum. Well, okay, let's not go backwards because you don't vacuum first. First, you dust. If you didn't know that, you don't vacuum first. Because then when you dust, everything goes all over the place and you just got junk all over the floor. Yeah. So you go from the top to the bottom. If you're going to clean off the blinds, you clean off the blinds. You wipe off the tables. All that stuff goes on the floor. Then you vacuum. Okay. But Wednesdays, I'm going to do basic housekeeping stuff. Thursdays, oh, that's my day off because heaven knows everybody needs a day off. Fridays is going to be my run day. So Fridays are the days I'm going to make doctor's appointments and dentist's appointments and get the oil changed in my car. Friday's going to be my appointment day. Saturday's my day to hang with the kids, especially if they're in school all week long, and that's my major, major day to see them. See what I mean? So then suddenly your son's going, Mom, I need my uniform washed. And he's 15 years old. You're like, yeah, dude, go put it in the washing machine. Monday, that's laundry day. You know that. Take care of this. No big deal. They know your schedule. You know your schedule. Okay, that's what's going to happen. They say, Mom, I need you to make a doctor's appointment for me. Well, you know it's going to be on Friday. And sometimes you have tests on Friday. So find out if you have a test over the next couple of weeks, a major test, or usually kids know this kind of stuff by the time they're in high school. And I'll make you an appointment. See, they know that Friday is appointment day. Makes life really easy. You don't have to try to figure out when you're going to do what because you already know. And your kids don't have to try to figure out what's going on because they already know. And here's a huge one for you. I'm terrible at exercising. I told you all that so many times. I don't love it, okay? I genuinely don't. But there was a time in my life when I used to walk 5 miles a day. I would get up early in the morning and walk for 5 miles. Not speed walk, nothing like that. Just walk because I really like to walk. It was when I was living in Mexico, so I confess to you it was great because it was hot, like burning up hot. And in the morning when I got up to walk, it was maybe 75, not close to 100. And I really enjoyed that time in the morning. But you know what? My entire day was so awesome because of all the endorphins that came out of exercising. I tended to get so much more done because I was pretty energized from all that exercise. And of course, I lost weight. Uh, I intended to follow through on that commitment to myself until I lost X number of pounds. And of course, I was only in my early 50s, and it was pretty easy to do. Gets a little tougher when you get closer to 70. Your body doesn't quite want to give up those pounds as readily. But I want you to know that if you intend to follow through on self commitments in terms of losing weight, your diet, the way that you're parenting, a consistency of schedule, it really will make your life in many ways richer, fuller, and certainly easier to manage. So, as a parent, when there's so much to take care of and so much to do with them, and we'll talk about this again because we'll talk about following through in relationship to discipline and establishing things with your kids that they need to be doing. But the first step really is, as an example, following through with consistent things that you commit to doing in your own life. So here are the challenge questions of the day. Number one, do I have a plan? If you have no plan, you do need to develop one. And number two, how am I doing at following through? If you aren't reliable, if you aren't any good at following through, even on things that you commit to doing for yourself, this can get better. That's why I said you start with one thing. In fact, choose the easiest one. Whatever that is, I'm not going to tell you because I don't know you. I don't live at your house. You know you better than me. Choose the one thing that is easier and do that thing and develop some consistency and some follow through. It really will, you'll see the benefits. It really will start to have some bleed over. So, what do you intend to do about following through in your life? I want to ask you this. Will you try? Will you do your absolute best to follow through on continuing to join me on Paint a Beautiful Picture? I'm so committed to helping you develop both as a human being and as a parent. I hope you will join me soon. Thank you. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.